Welcome back to Taste at Missoula. I'm Bob Zimmerino, and my co-host is
Emily Seitz
from the Good Food Store here in lovely Missoula, Montana. We're going to do a dish today called cashew chicken. It's part of our series of rice dishes. We're going to use some basmati rice that Emily made last week. To start this dish off, oddly enough, it's cashew chicken. We're going to need some cashews. I have some butter heating up. These are raw cashews, and I'm going to pan roast them a little bit and then finish them off with a little bit of soy sauce.
So you want to make sure you melt your butter, put your cashews in. These are raw, they're unsalted, so if you want to add a little more flavor or depth to them, then you could melt the butter with some salt. And it's kind of nice to not use salted butter because then you can add the amount of salt you need or want for this.
And I normally use salted butter because I'm so used to using it, and then I'm lighter going with my salt. But we're not going to add salt to this at all because we're going to use soy sauce, which has salt in it.
Great.
So I'm going to
Another alternative, you can use soy sauce does have gluten in it, so if you're looking for a gluten-free product,
they have it here.
Yeah, you want to get tamari, and tamari is, I actually like the taste of tamari even more than soy. It's not as salty.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So as these are browning up nicely, the one thing I would tell you is you have to be very careful when you're doing this with cashews or any other nut, because the reality is once they start to brown, you don't want them to black. I'm just going to add a little bit of soy sauce to that.
Woo!
Coat them up beautifully.
Having fun
pour them
now.
right out on this pan. Put that soy. Oh, look at that smell.
That smells
is that
good.
Or what?
All right, Bob, what do we got?
We have cashew chicken. So
Yum.
I'm going to start with heating some sesame oil. You've got a great flavor, and it's really a classic kind of after thing that you'll taste in a lot of Oriental dishes, and you'll wonder what that flavor is or what is it that's making it, giving it that flavor. I'm going to put some oil in the bottom of this pan, and I'm going to put a little bit of salt in here just in the bottom to keep some spatter down.
Nice.
The other thing I would say about butter has even a lower melting or a lower burning point than olive oil. So if you want to use some butter in this dish, which is actually quite good, you mix it with some sesame oil and it actually raises that smoke point a little bit.
So we have a great selection of vegetables here. This is actually all laid out as our prep, and technically it's called mise en place, and that means that everything is in its place. And I can't tell people enough how important it is to mise en place at home. Sure, we're in this great kitchen and it looks all beautiful, but you can do this at home and it's so much more efficient if you do your prep first, because as you'll see, Bob's going to move fast and he doesn't have time to step away to chop up some carrots.
Of course, cashew chicken has to have some chicken in it. We have boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And I'm going to just show you how you cut these up. And one of the things that I want to do here is, because I want pieces that will cook quickly, because the size of the vegetables are that way, I'm just going to take these and I'm going to slice them across the grain in strips, and then have the strips. Well, I want the oil really good and hot when I start this so the chicken doesn't stick and it's set to go. See, you can hear that sizzle?
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm looking for. One of the things that I want to do is I want to flavor the oil with the chicken.
Right.
And so we're going to start by sauteing the chicken and then actually removing it from the pan. So if you notice, the chicken pieces are starting to brown nicely. We don't want to get them totally finished because we want to incorporate them with the sauce, so we're going to remove them. Now you can't just pour them out onto the plate because I want to use that seasoned pan, that seasoned oil, to flavor the veggies as we're cooking them. So Emily, what are we going to start with on those veggies? Carrots?
Looks like we're going to start with carrots, Bob.
And one of the reasons that we're starting with carrots is harder vegetable. Talk a little bit about broccoli florets. Here, you need a couple?
Sure. They're beautiful, little bouquets of green, are they not? And the thing that's so great about broccoli in a stir fry is that all of these florets, these pieces, they are just little sponges that are going to absorb the flavor. So what's happening right now, can you do this in?
Please do.
What's happening right now is Bob is again cooking the broccoli, and all of that flavor from the chicken and the sesame oil and that butter, the broccoli is absorbing right now and then filling with flavor. So we got red pepper next.
Next up we have some red peppers. This is a sweet red, by the way. Classic standard sweet red. And I like the red peppers because we have green, we have orange,
Nice.
And now we have red.
We have a color wheel, right? Red and green.
Exactly.
And also the health aspect of red pepper. Do you know, Bob, that red peppers have more vitamin C?
Correct.
Than an orange?
Orange peppers also.
That's true story. All right, what's next, Bob?
Well, next up we're going to do some pea pods, and we're going to do some jalapenos. And the jalapenos. And I went again with a red jalapeno because they're minced. Well, they're also minced little smaller than everything else.
Sure.
Because they're hotter. But what happens is you'll see when in the end it kind of clings to the chicken, and it just gives a great look to the dish.
And you can see that Bob left a little bit of the seeds, and that's going to offer more heat.
And now we're going to add two more things. Right off the bat, we're going to add some garlic throughout the pan.
So Bob, why would you add garlic at this point in the dish and not at the beginning?
Well, because the garlic is very small, and I don't want it to burn. I actually want it to just start to brown as the dish is finishing, because then it gives off a little bit of a nutty flavor. It is also, again, very complimentary to the cashews. And garlic, I think, it's strongest when it's raw, but it's at its best flavor when it's just starting to brown.
Just a little caramelization. Now, Bob, I'm noticing that you might have used a microplane when you were doing the ginger. Is that right?
I freely admit to having used the microplane. Fine.
You are a reformer.
Well, you know, I've actually always used one. I just didn't want to let on.
Sure. I see how you are.
Well, that's kind of how it is. Ginger, be careful not to add too much. It'll take over the dish. But you got to make sure you add enough in here to cover everything that we've got going on. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add a little soy while Em continues to stir. And I'm going to add it to the sides of the wok and let it work its way down in. And now we're going to do some chicken stock, same sort of thing. We're going to let it cook. And as soon as that boils, we're going to add a little bit of cornstarch and chicken stock together. We've got this beautiful concoction. This cashew chicken has come to a boil, and at 180 degrees, starches start to thicken. So I've added a little cornstarch and water there, or cornstarch and stock actually, chicken stock. And we're going to let it thicken up a little bit. What this will do, it'll be kind of like a glaze, so that everything in the dish actually sits up beautifully and gets coated a little bit better. So as we're going through this now, we've got our plate of basmati rice. We're going to lay some fruit and some veggies and meat right out over the top.
Ready? I'm ready, Bob.
Oh my golly. Chopsticks, I hate that song.
What? Every kid loves chopsticks. It's like their first song on the piano.
I know. It was mine too, but I was like 33 when I did it. We're going to put a little bit of the juice over the top, the sauce, to flavor right down through the dish. Will you wipe the edge of that?
I certainly will.
We have a beautiful cashew chicken dish. Anyone would be proud to serve. I'm Bob Zimmerino from MakeItMissoula.com. Next time we'll be doing a southwestern beef dish, also served over rice.
And I'm on my sites from the Good Food Store.
Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.